Nucleic acids are naturally occurring chemical compounds that serve as the primary information carrying molecules in cells. They play an especially important role in directing protein synthesis. The two main classes of nucleic acids are deoxyribonucleic acid (DNA) and ribonucleic acid (RNA). Hi, I am Magdalene and we will be talking about biochemistry of nucleic acids. The structure. Nucleic acids are long chain-like molecules composed of a series of nearly identical building blocks called nucleotides. Each nucleotide consists of a nitrogen-containing aromatic base attached to a pentose 5-carbon sugar which is in turn attached to a phosphate group. Basic structure. Nucleic acids are polynucleotides, that is, long chain-like molecules composed of a series of nearly identical building blocks called nucleotides. Each nucleotide consists of a nitrogen-containing aromatic base attached to a pentose 5-carbon sugar which is in turn attached to a phosphate group. Each nucleic acid contains four or five possible nitrogen-containing bases: adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and uracil. A and G are categorized as puriners, and C, T, and U are collectively called pyrimidines. All nucleic acids contain the bases A, C, and G. T, however, is found only in DNA, while U is found in RNA. The pentose sugar in DNA differs from the sugar in RNA ribosed by the absence of a hydroxyl group on the carbon of the sugar ring. Without an attached phosphate group, the sugar attached to one of the bases is known as a nucleoside. The phosphate group connects successive sugar residues by bridging 5-hydroxyl group on one sugar to the 3-hydroxyl group of the next sugar in the chain. These nucleoside linkages are called phosphodiester bonds and are the same in RNA and DNA. Nucleic acids were discovered in 1869 by Swiss biochemist Friedrich Miesker. More. Nucleic acid, any of the naturally occurring chemical compounds that are capable of being broken down to yield phosphoric acid, sugars, and mixture of organic bases, purines and pyrimidines. Nucleic acids direct the course of protein synthesis, thereby regulating all cell activities. The two main types, DNA and RNA, are composed of similar materials but differ in structure and functions. Both are long chains of repeating nucleotides. The sequence of purines and pyrimidines bases adenine, guanine, cytosine, and either thymine or uracil in the nucleotides in groups of 3. Triplets or codons constitutes the genetic code. Biosynthesis and degradation. Nucleotides are synthesized from readily available precursors in the cell. The ribose phosphate portion of both purine and pyrimidine nucleotides is synthesized from a glucose via the pentose phosphate pathway. The 6-atom pyrimidine ring is synthesized first and subsequently attached to the ribose phosphate. The 2-ring in purines are synthesized while attached to the ribose phosphate during the assembly of adenine or guanine nucleosides. In both cases, the end product is nucleotide carrying a phosphate attached to the 5 carbon of the sugar. Finally, a specialized enzyme called a kinase adds 2 phosphate groups using adenosine triphosphate as the phosphate donor to form ribonucleoside 3-phosphate, the immediately precursor or RNA for DNA. 2-hydroxyl group is removed from the ribonucleoside diphosphate to give deoxyribonucleoside diphosphate. An additional phosphate group from ATP is then added by another kinase to form a deoxyribonucleoside 3-phosphate, the immediate precursor of DNA. Nucleic acids are biopolymers, micromolecules essential to all known forms of life. They are composed of nucleotides, which are the monomers made of 3 components: a 5-carbon sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base. The 2 main classes of nucleic acids are deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. Nucleic acids are naturally occurring chemical compounds that serve as the primary information carrying molecules in cells and make up the genetic material. Nucleic acids are found in abundance in all living things, where they create, encode, and then store information of every living cell of every life form on Earth. In turn, they function to transmit and express that information inside and outside the cell nucleus to the interior operations of the cell, and ultimately to the next generation of each living organism. Nucleic acid, naturally occurring chemical compound that is capable of being broken down to yield phosphoric acid, sugars, and a mixture of organic bases, purines and pyrimidines. Nucleic acids are the main information-carrying molecules of the cell, and by directing the process of protein synthesis, they determine the inherited characteristics of every living thing. The 2 main classes of nucleic acids are deoxyribonucleic acid (DNA) and ribonucleic acid (RNA). DNA is the master blueprint of life and constitutes the genetic material in all free living organisms and most viruses. RNA is the genetic material of certain viruses, but it is also found in all living cells, where it plays an important role in certain processes such as the making of proteins. During normal cells metabolism, RNA is constantly being made and broken down. The purine and pyrimidine residues are reused by several salvage pathways to make more genetic material. Purine is salvaged in the form of the corresponding nucleotide, whereas pyrimidine is salvaged as nucleoside. So, that's all we have. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.